Hello,
Hi,
guys.
everyone.
Welcome back to the Consistency Code podcast, episode 23. And today we're going to be diving into natural versus enhanced bodybuilding, doing some myth busting, and yeah, just like discussing our opinions and thoughts and feelings
Yeah.
about enhanced bodybuilding versus natural, like what are PEDs,
hmm
do steroids do all of the work for you? Are natural preps actually healthier or not? And yeah, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of that. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Separating facts from fiction, right? So,
exactly. Exactly.
yeah. So, this is a very hot topic just because of the amount of controversy around it. And it's very understandable because of the rep steroids got to begin with. But do they actually make you jacked without doing the hard work? And can you actually tell who's natural? Because that's also a very big thing, right? We're going to discuss later on how influencers will lie and then later come out and how people do react to that and so on. But we're talking about it because the fitness industry and influencers are obsessed with natty or not, right? That's a really big thing. Busting who is and who isn't on enhancements, and social media has changed our expectations of what it looks like to be on PEDs. Therefore, the stigma of steroids do all the work comes in, right? And also the plot of this episode is not to accuse anybody. It's just to give you the facts versus fiction because obviously it's all in this bunch and it's confusing and we have a lot of obviously our audience is mostly bodybuilding based, so this will be a really good one.
Mm. And like, I also just want to like kind of debunk the like negative connotation that PEDs do have. Like outside of the bodybuilding community, I do feel like steroids, PEDs, whatever you want to call them, have such a negative like outlook to them and a negative stigma. And everybody just assumes that like they're so bad for you, they're really unhealthy, like, you know, you shouldn't be taking them. Like if you tell somebody that you're like not a natural athlete, they kind of like look at
Look
you
at you funny.
the wrong way. Yeah, and they're like, oh, okay. But like
Yeah.
there really are a lot of benefits to them. And when used like safely, appropriately in the right setting with the right guidance and support, like yeah, they can be incredibly beneficial and arguably healthier than competing naturally. So yeah, we're gonna get into that.
So, first things first, what are PEDs? So, PEDs are performance enhancing drugs, and there are a lot of different categories there because a lot of people will think steroids do the same thing, which is growth, and that is far from it. We have steroids, testosterone, human growth hormones, SARMs, which do you know the abbreviation for that? What does SARM stand for? Because I don't.
Off the top.
It's okay. We'll search it up next time. And then EPO, which is again, have to search that one up. Do you know?
No.
Okay. So yeah, to clarify, not all PEDs equal growth, as in muscle building. Some improve endurance, recovery, and things like that. That's where
So yeah, anabolics are going to be your group of PDs that support muscle
muscle
building.
building. Mhm.
But there's also PDs that are their main purpose is fat burning or recovery. Or I mean, we could even like dive into the whole peptide route now, which technically peptides are not PDs.
Yeah.
But arguably HGH, human growth hormone, is a peptide, but like
Mhm.
also considered a PD. So I don't know, there's like this gray area, but there's a lot of different levels and groups when it comes to steroids and performance enhancing drugs. So yeah, and again, there's like this huge negative stigma around it. I think everybody just like assumes that every single PD is going to be like trenbolone, like just
You're gonna gain 5 pounds of muscle right away. Yeah.
and yeah, some are like safer for females to use specifically, and like some can be extremely beneficial. Like if you're like an older woman, like in perimenopause, like yeah, there's so many. So we're gonna clarify that. Yeah, not every PD is gonna build muscle. Some improve endurance, some improve recovery. So yeah, steroids are only one category of like
Yeah.
this major under
Many.
this major umbrella.
Exactly.
HRT.
Yes. There we go. Or TRT. Yeah.
Yeah, HRT or TRT. So drugs that will pump sex hormones into your body essentially to support the natural production of your hormones.
Correct. Mhm.
And yeah, HRT is something that is extremely beneficial. It stands for hormone replacement therapy. It's extremely beneficial as you get older, in particular, once you start to see the natural production of your sex hormones decline as you age. And so many women report feeling like so much better, like better energy, better sleep, better performance in the gym, like just better all around because they're supporting their hormones as they age and not having to suffer through the negative side effects of menopause.
Yeah. There's our first myth of the day. So I'll let Bella answer this one. Steroids do all the work. What do you think?
I think it's hilarious when I see comments on my friends' posts who are enhanced athletes. By the way, when we say enhanced, we mean athletes who are utilizing PEDs. So I think it's funny when I see comments on some of my enhanced friends' posts being like, oh, you only look like that because you're on steroids. Like, steroids are doing all the work. I think it's hilarious because basically you're assuming that you just pop one pill or inject yourself once and boom, you're like immediately jacked and
Yeah.
you don't
And
you don't
and
have
there's
to put in
people
any work in the gym. Like you
yeah,
don't have to work out, you don't have to do cardio, you don't have to like track your food, you don't have to like follow your meal plan. Like it's just
yeah.
like a magic pill or magic injection. Like
Yeah, and there's also people who do take PEDs and look like shit. So there's a difference,
yeah,
right? Who so
yeah,
like you can't say that some people are at the level that they are just solely due to the utilization of PEDs because you still have to train, you still have to be on top of your nutrition, which is a really big thing. Your sleep, recovery matters, right? So all these factors play into using enhancements because if you do take PEDs and do not do the work and have the support that you need to for your body, you will not grow as you think you will. And sometimes your genetics will just not respond to PEDs like the next person would. So sometimes some are actually worse off utilizing PEDs. So it's a really
if
interesting
you
thing.
are utilizing PEDs and you are not putting in the work, that's when you're going to look like shit. You will look like a bag of milk if you are solely relying on drugs to do the work for you because that is just
Exactly.
not how they work. If you are utilizing drugs without training hard in the gym, without following a meal plan or tracking your macros and being diligent with your nutrition, you're not going to get anything out of it. It's going to be a complete waste of your money and you're going to end up looking worse and dealing with negative, really extremely negative consequences
Mhm.
from
And
from the drugs.
yeah, we have a lot of people who do dawn themselves thinking, I'm not taking PEDs, but the other girl is, so she'll automatically win, which is a very, like, sometimes that can be the case just because of you are amplifying the effort, but PEDs does not replace effort, right? So you're not gonna be taking PEDs, training like shit, or just half-assing it and winning over the natural athletes who are working harder, right? That's where the you can still take PEDs and look like shit comes in because it does not always equal winning. And we see this day in and day out. I think it just comes from people who are not directly involved within the sport, which is very understandable, but it puts such a bad stigma onto us too.
100%.
Mhm.
Like, okay, here's an interesting comparison. So, if two identical twins both trained and twin A stays natural, twin B takes PEDs but barely trains, who's gonna win? Who's gonna look better? Who's gonna be more jacked in that situation?
And Natty King.
Yeah, like Rutha was just saying, most people are going to assume that the enhanced twin is going to automatically win. But
Mm.
everything beyond PEDs still plays such a huge role that PEDs are literally like what the name like says for itself, like performance enhancing drugs. They are simply going to amplify the results that you're already seeing. Like they're not a replacement by any means, and that's where like a big misconception is, I think.
Yeah. Our next topic is I'm going to give that one to Bella because she's very, very passionate about this one and for the right reasons. Are natural preps healthier than enhanced preps?
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys have heard before on this podcast, like I am a natural athlete. I've always been natural. I've never taken any PEDs, any peptides, nothing. So yeah, I mean, lots of people assume or do assume I'm not natural just because I look a certain way, which again comes down to like them just assuming that you can't look muscular and lean and be a competitive bodybuilder without drugs, which is hilarious. It's always the best compliment when people assume that I'm not natural. But yeah, I'm fully natural. I've done all of my preps naturally. And I think another big misconception is that natural preps are actually healthier. I am a firm believer they're not. Even though I am a natural athlete, I am a firm believer that doing an enhanced prep is going to be healthier than doing a natural prep. And this honestly comes down to the fact that in order to achieve staged leanness, as a natural athlete, you have to put your body under so much more stress and like intensity in order to get stage lean. In order to achieve that level of leanness, you are putting your body under so much more stress. You have to typically push a lot harder than an enhanced athlete would. This is not to take away from an enhanced prep. This is not to say that enhanced preps are easy by any means. Like, you still have to put in the work like we just talked about. But being a natural athlete, you do have to go that extra mile because you don't have the assistance of fat burners. I'm not talking like a supplement store fat burner. I'm talking like you aren't able to utilize that. You don't have any support when it comes to recovery from your training. So your body is working that much harder. It's working that much more in overdrive to help you recover. So that's putting a lot more strain and stress on your body. So yeah, basically you have to push that much harder, which is at the end of the day going to be unhealthier for your body. And that's where we tend to see like a lot of natural athletes specifically suffer from amenorrhea. So loss of our menstrual cycles, because when your body hits this like certain point in terms of stress, once cortisol hits a certain level, then the last thing it's going to be wanting to do is reproduce and focus on reproduction and ovulation. So yeah, arguably I do believe that natural preps are not as healthy. Having that extra support, or even like I mentioned before, like utilizing HRT, stuff like that to support the natural production of your hormones will really support you. So yeah, there's like definitely pros and cons. Obviously, like staying natural, you don't have to worry about any potential side effects of these drugs, but at the same time, like, you're suffering the consequences of not having the positive side effects of those drugs.
Yeah. And I think that a good example of this is going to be, obviously this does not go for every natural athlete, but more often than not, unless you're a genetic anomaly, is enhanced athletes can hold muscle better in a very deep deficit. And that just comes down to what they have to help them with assistance. And as long as they're working hard enough, they can maintain the muscle. Like, they have a less chance of losing it in such a deep deficit with all that cardio. Because I know girls that reach 2 hours, right? So it's, as a natural athlete, that's way harder on your body to be preserving the muscle on negative calories and whatever. So this means that the enhanced athlete can reach stage conditioning on higher calories more often than not. So
I think muscle retention as an enhanced athlete honestly comes down to the fact that you're able to push that much harder in the gym throughout your entire prep, because your body is that much less fatigued because you have the support
exactly,
from
because you recover way faster, and I say that like 10 out of 10 because when I take a break from cycling, I do notice in that health phase where my recovery is not where it used to be. Obviously it's not shit because I'm like sleeping like whatever, but it's not as peak as it is when I am utilizing PEDs, because it does play a big role. It does. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because as a natural athlete, when you're like nearing that hour of cardio mark, like 5, 6, 7 days a week, when your training day calories are like 1,500 or lower, even, I mean, depending on the person, like sub 2,000 for me is like feels extremely low. Is your sleep gets disrupted. Like, you're simply just not able to push the same weight and intensity during your workouts as you can during your off season. And so as an enhanced athlete, having that extra support means that you are able to push that much harder during your workouts and preserve muscle that much more. So yeah, and then also typically, like, as a natural athlete, you have to do a longer prep. The duration that you're pushing for is longer because you don't have that extra support. So yeah, like, an enhanced prep is always going to carry its own real risks, whether that be cardiovascular, liver health, long-term endocrine disruption. I mean, arguably that happens naturally too. And so this isn't an argument that enhanced preps are like risk-free by any means. Like they definitely carry their own risks.
Yeah.
But the key variable in both cases is management. Like a recklessly run enhanced prep is dangerous, and so is a recklessly run natural prep, just in different ways. So the real takeaway here, I would say, is like the binary of natural equals healthy and enhanced, which equals dangerous. I think it's a moral framework dressed up as a health argument. Like the sport kind of does women a disservice by never talking about what extreme natural cuts actually cost the female body until like you get to that point yourself and you're like, holy fuck, I haven't had a period in over a year. And a lot of that damage could have been avoided by doing an enhanced prep. So yeah, there's like pros and cons to both. But whether you're competing naturally or enhanced, like always get your blood work done. Take your post-show recovery and your reverse diet as seriously as your prep. Like I cannot stress how important the reverse diet is. If you blow your reverse diet, you are doing yourself and your hormones even more of a disservice. And reverse diets are arguably harder than the prep itself too, because you don't have that like countdown, you don't have that short-term goal anymore, and temptations and cravings are that much higher post-show than they are in prep. But honestly, take it as seriously as your prep. Be honest with yourself about what you're actually doing to your body and set yourself up for a successful off-season and a successful hormone recovery health phase.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with everything. Yeah, I don't have anything more to add to that part. But yeah, everything carries their own risks, obviously, but you also just have to be honest with yourself where medically, even, right? Like everything's crashing during a prep at a certain point. So it's just the sense of the only reason we say healthier, not healthy, is because you have things that can support your hormones not crashing all the way. So that's where the healthier
It's
comes
gonna
in.
be healthy, but
Yeah, neither at all, actually. So that's another topic for another time where people do think prep is healthy. It's not.
if your
Yeah,
hormones and your blood work is not in a good spot, even like prior to starting a prep, I mean, first of all, you shouldn't even be starting a prep at that point. But secondly, like the last thing you should be thinking about is PEDs as well, or starting any kind of cycle, because you need to make sure your health is in a good place before running anything, before putting anything exogenous into your body. So
exactly.
yeah, that's another thing to think about. But yeah, moving on to myth number 3, every elite athlete is using PEDs. I know it's easy to assume everyone is just on some kind of drug. And yeah, I mean, simply not the case. Look at all of the natural athletes and natural shows that are coming out this year. I mean, we'll also talk about the fake Natty conversation, but
Yeah,
there's a lot more natural shows happening now. There's a ton of natural athletes. There's even like natural bodybuilding leagues. And just because somebody is lean and has muscle on their body does not automatically mean that they're utilizing PEDs.
exactly. We do have to be honest with ourselves outside of the natural stream and like just the top of the top athletes. When we do break it down, unfortunately, again, more often than not, people are using PEDs, and that is not to take away from anybody. There are women who are natural, but that's again like not to discourage anybody, but that's a very little percentage. Those are girls with insane genetics, whatever, because it does take like the certain, I don't say this to offend anybody, but there's a certain look obviously that they go for at the top, and that is just not a very common physique to have and just build overnight. So obviously like these girls have been in the game for decades even, but at the same time is like at a certain point you're a woman and you will need assistance to look a certain way. But this is not to say that they're cheating or they're this, it's just the name of the game. And also it differs to who's using how much of what. So obviously, yes, they can be using PEDs, but how much? It can be little to none because they've been in this for 10 plus years. Because at that point, you have grown to a certain extent too, compared to a person who's been in this for 3 years. There's a big difference, but we just simply don't know how common PD usage is in each sport. And I think when girls come on socials and say, you know what, I'm so upset that this is happening to our division, everything's looking bigger, and I feel like I can't reach this without PEDs. Well, to begin with, yes, bikini has grown a lot, and I understand that, and they're huge now, but at the same time, again, that is the name of the game, as in, we can't stay stagnant. Obviously, we don't want to get to a point where it's, hey, this is damaging women's health beyond repair because we're just getting to a very unattainable like place. But at the end of the day, bodybuilding is not attainable. It's not a very normal thing that you go outside and you're like, yep, that's a wellness girl or that's a bikini girl. So it's very niche, right? So at a certain
If you
point, the
look at,
discussion,
yeah, if you look at any sport, not just bodybuilding, like any like professional sport at the top level, like
yeah,
it's not going to be easy to attain that. Like look at any top Olympians and
mhm,
like at the Olympics in any sport. Like you're not just going to wake up and be able to do that, right? Like that's years and years and years of progression and training, and every single year the caliber and the bar is even higher and more competitive. So it's the same thing in bodybuilding. Like obviously things are gonna evolve, and there's always gonna be a limit and a boundary when it comes to the divisions in bodybuilding. Like bikini is not gonna outgrow bikini. It's never gonna grow into wellness, right? It's never gonna grow into figure. Like bikini is bikini, and like I don't believe that the judges are gonna start awarding anything different. But yeah, obviously it is going to evolve and it is going to become more competitive every single year,
yeah,
especially as more
because
people are getting into it now. Like it's
yeah,
not as niche, I would say, as it used to be. I would say honestly, post like C word times, I would say bodybuilding's become like a lot more popular because that was when a lot of people like really started to take their fitness seriously, and like it's becoming so much more popular in social media now as like the fitness niche on social media is also growing. And yeah, like more people are getting into it, which means it's going to grow and it's going to evolve. And
yeah, and like bikini's not what bikini was in
no,
2013, obviously. Like it's gonna that's why I say like it's not gonna stay stagnant. Obviously it's growing, but it's growing as bikini. It's not
yeah,
growing as wellness. And yes, the chicks are bigger than before, but that was the whole point, was to, evolve. But also when it comes to the natural girls within the pro league and the top of the top, you do have to understand that sometimes elite genetics exist, elite work ethic also exists. So if those two are paired up together, you will get, the certain percent that's not a huge percent, but they're there. So it's not to say that a natural athlete can't get to the top of the top, but you also have to be realistic with yourself, your genetics, and how hard you're willing to work. Because as a natural athlete, you will need to work your ass off to look like the girls up there. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. And I mean, even at an amateur level, like you're still working your ass off. Like
Mhm.
it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be a challenge.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Now, our
going
favorite
off
combo.
of that topic, the fake natty conversation, probably the hottest topic because I know a lot of people are like, well, why would I even compete naturally when there's so many fake natties out there? Like, it's not fair, anyways. And honestly, to be completely real with you, yeah, there's gonna be some fake natties. There are. I've witnessed it at my shows before, and it's shitty. It sucks because morally, ethically, like I never could imagine competing in a natural show as an obviously enhanced athlete, or even taking enhancements and then 3 years later jumping into a natural show and being like, oh, well, I've been natural for the last 3 years. Well, no, like you still at one point in time used enhancements to help you build and achieve the physique that you have today. So you are not natural no matter how long it's been. But yeah, it's just something you have to accept, I think, as a natural athlete. I mean, the testing also could be improved, I would say, at the natural shows, but like there's only so much they can do in terms of testing. I know the top level natural shows do use polygraph tests, which does weed out a lot of those fake natties, but even so, you can slip through the cracks, and yeah, it kind of is what it is, I would say. I mean, look at the Olympic sports. There's fake natties, like, because PEDs, drugs are banned at the Olympics, but you're still going to be dealing with the fake natties there too. So I
Yeah.
think
I
it's just, yeah,
it's a very shitty situation, but yeah, like
yeah,
like you said, at the end of the day, like you will just have to bite your tongue about it and just be in the show. But at the same time, yes, it's doing a disservice to both sides, because number one, I think it's just more embarrassing than not, because you're
mhm,
utilizing PDs, you're getting bigger, but the thing is, you're not big enough to compete in the open stream, and you see that, so you're coming down to the naturals. So what's the point? So that also
so
comes down
embarrassing.
to,
Like you think that you're not going to do well in the open shows, so you're going to go cheat in the
so
natural
yeah,
shows. Like
and it
also the
comes,
natural shows, just because it's a natural show doesn't mean that it's more attainable or easy. Like I got absolutely smoked at my natural show too. Like though those athletes are still extremely, extremely competitive.
and it's going to be more embarrassing if you
Yeah,
lose at that natural
embarrassing.
show, by the
Oh my
way.
God.
You're
Well,
going to be
it's embarrassing
humiliated.
regardless. Like
Like you're like imagine. So the thing is here, that person forget like aside from them like taking away from the natural athlete who worked their ass off, they're cheating themselves because they don't want to also have take the time, right? So because it's all rush, that's why people do what they do, is because they want to reach a certain goal a little too quickly. So the cheating, the this, they think, hey, I can break a timeline by taking these shortcuts. But if that shortcut comes to bite you in the ass and people around you find out what you did, it is so not worth it. So not worth it.
Such a bad look for you and your coach. Like you are absolutely ruining your entire reputation.
And your coach's a bitch if he lets you do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
seriously. So yeah, but also on that note, like it kind of ties back to assuming that everybody's on drugs. Like some of these athletes do actually look freaking insane and they're natural, but like drugs are not necessary in order to build certain physiques, especially if you have elite genetics and just take your training seriously and know how to properly train, really like utilize your training sessions to the best that you possibly can. Like, you're regimented with your nutrition. Like, you are going to see results. Like, I'm still making progress. And like I said, I'm natural. I mean, look at the top natural athletes in the world. Like,
Mhm.
they are competitive with the top enhanced pros. So,
Yeah. The biggest thing is using PEDs and lying about it worse than actually using PEDs. 110%. 110%.
yes.
Because why are we lying? I think that
Yeah. Why are you hiding that? Like, are you embarrassed? Like,
if you don't want to be talking about it because you're there's some who genuinely cannot share just because of what job they work, like whatever. Like for example, if you're wanting to become a cop and you're bodybuilding and you're in the academy and you're using PDs, I'm so sorry you can't share that, right? So, but certain things where you're just lying to lie, girl, you're a weirdo. You're a weirdo. Like if somebody asks you like, oh my gosh, like are you like natty or not? And you go, I'm natural. Boo, fucking boo.
why, yeah, literally, why are we lying? Why are we
Mm.
lying?
It's just
Like,
shameful. Sorry. Actually, not
if
sorry. You're
you
that's
aren't
shameful.
okay with being open about it and like being honest about what it's taken for you to look the way that you look, then why are we misleading people into thinking that you've built that without any kind of
Exactly.
enhancements? It's just wrong. Okay, so yeah, now moving into the last segment of this episode, biggest misconceptions about natural lifters. And I just want to start off by saying if you are like a new lifter or you've only been lifting for like, I don't know, a couple years, even like 3 years, like please, for the love of God, like stay natural. Like I see way too many 18, 19, 20-year-olds hopping on PEDs without firstly learning how to train properly, without being consistent for a long period of time. And you do not need PEDs in order to build muscle and make progress. Like capitalize on those newbie gains in the gym. Like
Exactly.
that first year of lifting in the gym is going to be the most progress you ever make naturally.
Ooh, I have one. Sorry. If you have veins, you're enhanced. And Bella's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I have veins on my abs during prep, but they're not like the veins that Bella has, right? So that's a very big telltale, and I can understand where people could come from because that hard conditioned look usually will be like, yeah, you're utilizing fat burners, like whatever it is. But there's people who are genetic freaks who will just be veiny everywhere, and Bella's one of them. So that's a very like touchy subject where it can be the case, but it's not something that you should go off on being like, I see veins, she's not natty. That should not be a marker for you at all.
It's not like you take one certain drug and like boom, you have veins. Like that's
Exactly,
not how
yeah.
it works. That would be crazy.
Mhm.
And yeah, I even like at my heaviest weight, like peak off season, like my one bicep vein does
She
not
still
leave.
had it. What was her name?
She, I should name her. She doesn't have a
Mine
name.
was Rebecca.
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 Yeah, like guys, my dad has the craziest vascularity and that man does not have a lot of muscle on him. So it's just like a
No
genetic
shade. Yeah.
being so real. So yeah, it's just like a genetic thing. I am very vascular, especially when I get lean. My thyroid is extremely sensitive, which also helps. So I become extremely sensitive to carbohydrates and insulin. So as soon as my body gets like that touch of insulin, when I'm very insulin sensitive and lean, like my veins just go crazy. Yeah, my last prep was actually the first prep I've ever had stomach veins. I think just because I got that much leaner, to be honest, than I ever have before. But yeah, just because you have veins does not mean you're enhanced. And I think that's why a lot of people do assume that I'm not natural is because of my vascularity, which is kind of crazy. So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
your conditioning is not like very typical for like natural athletes to have just because of that super hard, like detailed look. So like I can understand like where they could come from because like you don't see that on every like natty athlete. Like it's very hard. So that's why I say like don't go based off that. It's super impressive. And I think what people's heads go to is like if I look at her and it's super impressive, it's gear.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is just so not true at all. Like this is just years of like consistency in the gym
Yeah.
and in the kitchen.
And dieting till you can't see anymore. So
Literally,
yeah.
literally. Okay,
Yeah.
another big misconception that actually like is like nails on a chalkboard every time I hear it is creatine is a steroid or any kind of like white powder is like a steroid. Not good for you.
I
Nope.
I just start saying yeah, honestly. It's funny.
Oh my gosh,
Like
guys.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
cannot stress how many benefits creatine has for everybody, literally everybody, regardless of if you lift or don't lift.
It's the are you on creatine?
Are
That's
you
what
on
gets
creatine?
me. Are you on creatine?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so funny. It's so funny. I think as more research comes out about creatine, people are starting to understand it a little bit better. But yeah, like I think I remember the day my mother first saw my tub of creatine and she was like, what is
What
this?
is this? Yeah. If a rule of thumb for you to see if it is steroids or not is if you as a newbie or a regular person can get your hands on it easily, it's not steroids.
Literally,
I'll
if
leave
it's
it
on the
there.
shelves at your supplement store or in the Walmart
Like
supplement section,
if you can get your hands on it, don't
yeah,
worry, you're safe. You're
yeah.
safe.
If you can order it off Amazon,
You're good, yeah.
you're
So
good. You're good. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a very
Like really,
educational.
yeah. God, like muscle growth, like it takes patience, consistency. Genetics do play a role, yeah, but like the biggest contributing factors to muscle gain and growth is not going to be steroids or enhancements. It's going to be your consistency and your improvements. And
And realistic rates of muscle gain.
yes, yes. And I don't know where this like 5-year rule came from either. The fact that you like all of a sudden just stop building muscle after 5 years in the gym.
Yeah, you're actually done because your body knows you've
Body
been
just
training
hits
for
a
five
clock.
years.
Yeah.
Like they know it's been
Like,
5 years. Okay,
nope.
day one.
Yep, that's the 5-year timer going off. No more muscle growth.
No more. Yeah, it's just a lot of assumption and a lot of people just talking to talk out there that just do bring these misconceptions. It's like telephone, right? Like you say something and it gets translated through 1,000 people and it's the opposite, not even what you said. It's just a completely different fact, right? So yeah, that's how false information gets spread and false misconceptions or misconceptions, sorry. So yeah,
Literally. So, yeah, just to summarize, like PEDs, they're definitely really, really great tools to utilize in the toolbox, but they're
very
not
powerful.
magic. Like, your hard work is still what matters the most. And honestly, just like stop comparing yourself to others that you see on social media around you at your gym. Like, you are on your own journey, you're writing your own story. So, focus on your own progress instead of comparing yourself to the girl next to you in the gym or your favorite influencer on social media because, well, you never know what their actual protocols are. And so, like, convincing yourself that you're gonna one day look like them is just super unrealistic and, like, it's holding
Exactly.
yourself back mentally because genetics also play a huge role. You're never gonna look exactly like the person that you follow on
Mhm.
social media.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Hopefully that clears some things up about natural versus enhanced
Enhance.
bodybuilding. Yeah, if I ever choose to go enhanced, y'all will know about it.
Y'all will know and see. Don't worry. But yeah, we're really happy that you guys joined us for this week's episode of the Consistency Code podcast. We are episode 23, which is crazy because this is like it's just flying by. But obviously, as per usual, drop us some comments if you have any questions, any disagreements. Like we're open to everything. So yeah, let us know what you thought, and hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We'll see you guys next
Thanks
week.
for tuning in. Bye.